you're not profiting off of the cryptocurrency business
I haven't
at
even
all?
looked.
Has your family?
I'll tell you what, look, if I own stock in something and I do a good job and the stock market goes up, I guess I'm profiting. But who really profits is somebody like Nancy Pelosi, who uses inside information. She worked for $175,000 a year, and that's at the high end, and she's worth $150, $200 million. Okay? You ought to look at Nancy Pelosi, and you ought to look at some of these politicians that are stone cold crooks. I was very wealthy when I came in. Being president, I probably cost me money if you really look.
This is crazy, bro. This reminds me of Wolf of Wall Street, bro.
Yeah.
Literally.
It does kind of.
Like people, this is like something people went to jail for. How is it this illegal, bro?
Hey man, they just gaming the system. They create the laws of the system that we're supposed to follow. Of course they know how to
because they
exploit
passed
them.
the law to where they have to make it public information. That's the only way they're allowed to do it.
Bro, they know how to game the system. They create the rules and they know the loopholes. It only makes sense that they would know how to exploit the system.
Yeah, I could kind of see why it's not illegal though, because I mean, Wolf of Wall Street, they were actually taking a percent
scamming
off.
people.
Yeah, they were.
That
actually,
was different.
Yeah, that was
I wouldn't say
a real life scam.
I wouldn't say that they're scamming anybody. They're just
Ooh, the Wolf of
They
Wall
have
Street.
like
Found
a
the
cheat
loophole.
sheet.
No, the Congress.
talking about this,
Yeah.
bro.
No, I was
politicians.
saying.
Lock in, brother.
No, I'm just saying the Wolf of Wall Street was a scam.
No, they were
Yeah,
scamming.
I'm not talking about that though.
Yeah, they were scamming though. They were taking a percent out of every person that put in the stock. That was crazy. But now this is just different. I guess they just know the laws and they're just putting
There's a
in the
loophole.
money. Yeah, wherever the money, they're following the
As long
money
as you're
basically.
making public information, but no one knows where to find the public information.
Yeah.
Wow. But it is crazy, man. They're making a lot of money.
A Democrat with 124% return, a Republican with 111% return, a Democrat with 105% return. I can keep going down. There's a lot of Americans that would like to have returns along those lines. In fact, there are now funds out there that follow and trade along with the congressional members of Congress to see what they're trading. That is ridiculous. You should come to Congress. You should take your assets. You should move them into widely held index funds. We should make it able to be done on a tax basis. Come in here, clean the decks, go represent your constituents. It's long past due. Let's move the bill. Let's get it to the floor. Speaker, bring it to a vote, and let's put trust back in Congress.
Wow.
So they're trying to put a stop to it. People.
Yeah. They've been talking about it. They were upset when the stock market boomed when Trump just like a couple weeks ago. And they were pressing all the Republicans, so you didn't know.
He told everyone buy stocks. He didn't say Republicans buy stocks. He
did.
said go buy stocks.
Yeah, he made an announcement.
You know, it's interesting that they're like so against this, obviously, because we don't want our politicians gaming the system getting rich. I do understand that. But the fact that we as Americans can follow and mimic it, I mean, doesn't that kind of level the playing
helps us.
field in a sense? Like,
Kind of helps us.
once you know where to find the information, or you can find a company that will monitor this and then help you invest. Like he said, there's companies that do that. If you could find that type of company, I could see the value in it. Are they actually going to ban congressional stock trading? Like,
Who knows?
I think if it's not going to get banned, I'm definitely in favor of these companies that monitor and can help you mimic the same trades.
Need to be Democrats who walk the walk and talk the talk. There is an insane amount of hypocrisy, and the hypocrisy is what gets exploited to use the cynicism. And wherever there's a hypocritical window, for example, I think one of the most biggest examples of this is insider trading in Congress. Like,
dude, I don't know if I like. Do I give snaps? I don't know what the kids do anymore. But like, dude,
it's
yes,
it is
wow,
like
that's so crazy.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, like and this is the thing. It's like people think that everyday people are stupid. I'm like, do you all really think that people don't see this shit? Like,
they sit on a committee, they get information about a drug or a contract or a thing. They immediately make a call. The stockbroker changes things, and their portfolio swells.
Explodes. It explodes.
What are we doing?
And you're doing this on public trust.
Right.
On like taxpayer finance, public, facilities. Like it, of course.
You're regulating the market that you're trading on.
Exactly. And
you
like
run the casino.
And then we're supposed to act like money doesn't only corrupts Republicans. Give me a fucking break.
Everybody, both sides, Democrats from a Democrat mouth.
Politicians in general.
After watching this video, I actually wonder like how much money people probably made during COVID. Like, because all the bills that was getting passed immediately, bro.
Nah, and all the vaccines and everything. There was probably all types of different little.
Nancy
they said a
probably
lot of
made
people
it,
lost money in COVID, but they also said a lot of people
got rich.
made a lot of
Nancy probably pulled.
I mean,
out.
from what the internet says, it says AOC might be one of the ones that actually don't do insider trading. But who knows?
That's what they say. I've also seen some speculation that she just puts her holdings outside of her name.
That'd be
I
smart.
can see that too.
I've seen that.
Because
That's what I've seen.
It's been some reports that she's worth $29 million, but then there's been some reports saying
29.
that she's not worth $29 million. She's worth
hard
what
to
she
know.
gets
Yeah.
in Congress. It says
I mean,
200,000.
I do. It's rarely that I agree with AOC, but I like the fact that she called it out. I can give credit where credit is due.
But Nancy called it out and she do it. Nancy called
that's
out.
right.
Nancy called out a lot of shit.
Nancy called it out, but she blamed it on the other side.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah, she was like, "Look at what they're doing, ma'am. You are the godmother.
me.
You are."
She admitted this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we know a guy that knows a little something about insider trading. We got a friend named Ross Givens who's hosting a free seminar to where he can explain it to anyone that wants to learn and break it down for free this Thursday, May 29th.
2 p.m. Eastern.
And
2
we know
p.m.
it's not a better time to make money in America than right now.
Hey, Trump said himself.
Oh,
He said it is now the time to put money in the market. I mean, we've seen these markets fluctuate up and down. When it's down, buy. And when it's up, you up, you won.
And this is what Ross is a professional at. He teaches you guys. He gives you the exact format to follow these trades, guys.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. We use it. I mean, it's just an awesome program.
Yeah, we'll be there as well, guys. So this Thursday, May 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern, guys. We'll be there. So join us.
Shall be fun, guys. We're out of here.
Ross, man, how are all these people making all this money and it just seems like it's not fair? Like, I just don't really understand it at all.
Well, they're just cheating. Yeah, and it's not fair. But that's what they do, right? That's one of the advantages of being one of the people in D.C. who writes the laws. You can write them in a way that you can take advantage of them and you can enrich yourself. And there's really no one above you to do anything about it. It's not ethical. It's not fair. The only silver lining to all this, and the piece that a lot of people don't realize is this is public information, right? Do these politicians use the information they have to insider trade? Absolutely. Do they have track records that are impossible to achieve without cheating? They do. Well, you can see what stocks they're buying. You can see when they're buying them, and you can follow along. And we've been doing this for a while with a lot of great success.
Wow.
So is it every politician that's doing this, or like who all is involved in doing this?
Well, I wouldn't say it's all of them. I think more do than don't. And I sent over some graphics. Hopefully they can put those up. But if you look at what members of Congress made in the stock market last year, this chart here is showing the top returns, the returns of the top members of Congress. And these are big numbers. I mean, you've got guys producing 149% annual returns, 142, 123, 111, 90. I mean, numbers that Warren Buffett has never put up in a 60-year career. So it is just not possible. I mean, if you look at the top hedge funds in the world, the best of the best, they cannot compete with these sort of numbers. So there's Nancy Pelosi's, but it's not just one or two of them. It's lots and lots of these insiders doing this. And, when you've got a dozen members of Congress producing 50, 60, 80, 100, 150% annual returns, there's just no other way they can do that. This is not even their full-time job. So one of the things we do is show people how to do this stuff. And we do these training events. I know you guys came to one we did a couple of months ago. We have another one this Thursday, May 29th at 3. And we just show people how to follow this stuff, both these political insiders, the Pelosi's, the others that no doubt use it, but also the corporate people, CEOs and board members. Those guys do this to the exact same level. In fact, they're even better.
Wow.
How
Okay.
is this legal?
It seems illegal,
It really does.
but it's not.
Yeah, it really does. No, so again, like I said, Congress writes the laws, okay? And so people had the same argument 12, 13 years ago. They said, this is ridiculous. You guys are coming in here making $200,000 a year. You leave and you're worth $40 million. How's this possible? You can't be trading stocks. They passed something called the Stock Act. And the goal was to stop them from insider trading. But all it did, since of course they wrote it, was put in this requirement that required them to publicly report these trades. So they have 30 days from when they buy a stock. They post it online, how many shares they bought, what the company is, and we can see this stuff. The problem is most people don't know how to find it. They didn't make it super easy. But that's one of the things we show people in these training events. Look, go to this website. It's free. You're going to see when they buy stocks, which ones they're buying. And so what you want to do, if you want to profit off this yourself, is just look for those opportunities that stand out from the rest. I mean, the obvious ones, right? So, for example, let me show you this. This is one of the recent trades from Nancy Pelosi. It's in Tempest AI, all right? I know you guys like some of these hot AI stocks. This one's Tempest, TEM. And she bought this a few months back, and she didn't just buy the stock. She bought call options, which is like a really leveraged bet. In other words, she's betting $100,000 that this stock's going to make a big move in the next few months. If it doesn't, you lose $100,000.
Wow.
Right. So if you're going to make a bet, you're not going to make a bet like that unless you're pretty sure something's about to come. And it turns out she did know something. At least we're pretty sure she did. They released their new AI model. The stock surges. And she bought this stock in like 32, 33 bucks a share. It's $90 a share a month later. So she's like, the stock tripled. Her options are up 300%, maybe 500. I'm sorry, they were up more than that. She bought them for 15 bucks a piece. A month later, they were 70 bucks a piece. So what is that? 450% in a month, right? So it's just the common sense type stuff. So if they're just buying a couple shares of Apple or Google or whatever in their kids' college account, like that's not going to raise a red flag. But another example, okay, this if you see this up, this is the trade from a House member named Susie Lee. Now she's not a big name politician, and she's not a big insider trader. In fact, she hasn't bought a single stock since 2022. And then she reports that she's buying this company. It is called Rheinmetall. It is a German arms manufacturer. Now, you tell me, you haven't bought a single stock in 3 years. You suddenly buy one stock and one stock only. It's this little German arms manufacturer. You just so happen to sit on the subcommittee of military spending or military construction. Seems odd, right? You don't buy a lot of stocks, and the one you do buy, it's not Tesla, it's not Apple, it's not Nvidia, it's Rheinmetall, the German arms manufacturer, right? It just seems odd. And then sure enough, like weeks later, Germany announces this massive $2.6 billion weapons budget, a lot of which went straight to Rheinmetall. The stock shoots up, as you see in the chart here. It's up 184%. And so, like if you guys own 50 stocks and one of them went up 184%, that can happen. You buy one stock in 3 years and it does this, right? It's just the odds of it are so small. So what we do is just look for these opportunities. You see a bunch of people, whether it's politicians or, you've got a little pharmaceutical stock, and then you see the CEO and the chief financial officer and the medical director and the board suddenly putting in 5 times their annual salary into their own stock for the first time in 6 years. It's like, odds are, at the very least, things are not bad at the company, right? And oftentimes things are very good. And they're going to announce some, positive drug trial that sends the stock surging. It could be a company going to announce a big military contract and the stock doubles, or an earnings beat, or a merger, whatever it may be. And, in the stock market, if you know information other people don't, you can make a lot of money. Wow. I don't know anything other people don't. I don't know how many iPhones Apple sold. I don't know, but these people do.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we can see what they're buying, when they're buying it with their own money in nearly real time is a huge, huge edge. So I think anybody who's not taking advantage of this is doing themselves a big disservice. And look, if you want to learn about it, and I think you guys put a link below this video, I'll show you how to do it. It's a free event. It's Thursday, May 29th, 3 o'clock Eastern. It's online. Anybody can attend. It'll take about an hour. And people are generally blown away. They just don't know this information's in front of them. And, I always tell people, look, you can be angry. you're right. It's not ethical. It's not right. It's not fair. It should be illegal. But that's not putting any money in your pocket.
Right.
Man,
Right?
okay, wow.
So I do.
You
Have
know
a
what I
question.
mean? Like, yeah.
I do have a question. So you mentioned the politician's salary is like $200,000, and they're making that in the millions. You know, the average person is not making $200,000. So for those that might be skeptical, like, can they really make money following these trades without $200,000 budget or like a yearly salary?
Yeah, that's the beauty of the stock market. You know, you can buy one share, you can buy a million shares. Now, look, if you come with $500 to an account, you're not going to turn that to 5 million in a year unless you're some freak of nature. But look, a stock that goes up 184%, you know, you're more than doubling your money, right? If you have $1,000, it turns into 2,000. If you have 10,000, it turns into 20. I mean, the percentage is the percentage, but it absolutely works. You know, if you have $17, sure, you got it's going to be a little tougher. Right. But no, we've had people a couple $1,000s do this very well. We have people that I had a member that was putting $100,000 into every stock I recommended. And I say I recommended. We're just following this stuff and we're alerting them when it happens. But it's all public, man. And so, you know, I get interviewed a lot because we're kind of some of the leading experts on this stuff, and because we've been tracking it for so long. And we've beaten the market every year since 2017 doing this, not by any brilliance of my own or my team. We're just following people who know more, you know? So it'd be like if there was a betting game on, you know, who's the Cartier family's next guest, right? And people were placing big bets. I think the Cartier family is probably going to win. You guys know, right? So it's just that simple.
It's exactly that.
Yeah, it's literally
That's amazing, man.
That is amazing.
So it's just like so crazy to me that this can really happen and people just don't even know. Like it's almost like a cheat code for stocks. Would that be a safe thing to say?
It is, yes. And, you know, listen, there's no such thing as a guarantee in the market, right? There's no strategy, stock picking method that's 100% effective. Warren Buffett gets it wrong 30, 40% of the time. But the way I look at it, and this is generally true, it's generally heads I win, tails I don't lose. Right? Because if you've got some stock, some company, and you've got the chief executive officer, you've got the chief financial officer, you've got two vice presidents, half the board, a VP, all putting hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into their own company with their own money at the same price you and I can buy that stock, the odds they're going to do that before some bad piece of news that tanks the stock are so slim. I just cannot fathom a situation they do that other than some crazy, super unexpected, like a global pandemic or something, right? So generally we see either they were taking advantage of something, they were buying because they knew they're about to get bought out, or a drug's about to get FDA approval, or their new AI model, whatever it is, and the stock shoots up, or maybe they were just buying, it was coincidental, they weren't taking advantage of everything. The stock kind of goes down a little or up a little, but doesn't just blow anybody away. But it's just really rare you're going to see a stock tank after something like this. So, you know, in the game of investing, there's wins, there's losses. But if you don't have any big losers, and if you rarely lose money and all you're doing is you're going to have a heck of a career and a heck of a return as an investor, whether that's in an IRA account for your personal, whether that's in a personal account you open at Robinhood or Fidelity or where, you know, there's no barriers of entry to this, man. You guys know, you could open a stock trading account in 5 minutes. It doesn't cost you a dime, doesn't cost you any commissions. There's no minimums unless it's maybe a couple $100. So, you know, back in the 80s, you had to have all this money and there's $200 stock trading commissions. Now it's $0. So now we have an environment where it's free to do. Anyone can do it from their cell phone. We have access to this information for free when the politicians and the insiders are buying. Like, you know,
it's no better time to make money, man.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, especially right now with, you know, Trump. Trump literally said, better get some stocks. And if you would have got stocks at that time,
you'd be doing
well. Yeah.
So, hey.
I don't see a better time.
Yeah, me either.
Than right
honestly.
now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. And if you're looking long term, like, look, it's been a volatile couple of months, right? The markets came down big on the threat of this global trade war, and then they come ripping right back, as you said, right after Trump said it's a great time to buy. So That's the funniest thing. When they accuse him of insider trading, it's like he just told the whole country.
He did.
Bro, he's still making deals right now, so it's going to continue to trend up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. And look, you can agree or disagree with the tariffs, how he went about it. I'm not going to comment on that. But the fact is, look, we've got, as he put it, trillions of investment dollars coming in. We've got a market environment that is just prime to go up. We are at the early stages of a new bull market. I'm firmly confident in that. I think price will be significantly higher 6 months, a year, 2 years later. And so, have some investment in the American economy, right? When we do well, you want to do well in addition. But you sprinkle in a couple of these big winners, you get into Rheinmetall before it triples. You get into some of these stocks that Pelosi buys that double and triple or go up 50, 80, 100%. You get a couple big winners like that, it can make a really big difference, whether you're investing $1,000 or $1 million. It's the same idea.
Wow.
Sir.
Cool.
Yes,
so
sir.
you're going to be teaching basically us and our viewers how to follow these stocks as well, right? Soon?
That's right. Yep. And this is good timing. We have one. We do these free training events, I think every 2 months, every 3 months, to show people what's out there. We have one coming up. It's this Thursday, May 29th, 3:00 Eastern.
Okay.
It is online. I know you guys have a link below this video to click that, but click it. Just put name, email. We'll send you all the information. If you want to put your cell number, we'll text you a reminder before we get started. And I believe for this one, everyone who registers, we're even going to send you our most recent stock pick for free. So even if you can't come, I encourage you to register, and you'll get a link straight to your phone, and you'll see what's available to you. It'll be the stock, the ticker, which insiders are buying, why we like it, where it could go. This is a low-cost stock, less than $10 a share. Anybody can buy it. And listen, there's no guarantees on this kind of stuff, but we've recommended stocks that have doubled. We recommended one that went up 1,900% a couple years ago. We've beat the market every single year since 2017. So I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but a lot more win than lose. And our winners tend to be a lot bigger than our losers. And but click that. We'll send it to you. Doesn't cost you a dime. You'll see what's available. And like I said, I think most people's eyes get opened to what's out there and what they have available to them.
Wow. Free knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm not turning that
It
down.
is.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, man. Every
Yeah,
time.
man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the class.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I hope y'all can come again, and thank you for having me on. I know the insider trading, especially in the political realm, is kind of a hot topic right now for good reason. I'm probably the only person you're going to interview that is not itching for them to stop insider trading, because while it is not ethical, while I don't think they should do it, they're just giving us free stock tips.
Yeah.
They're telling us.
Yeah.
And so it's like part of it is, for one, they're not really hurting anybody. I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm not saying you should be able to do it, but what Doge uncovered, literally stealing money from the taxpayers, that's corruption. They're buying stocks going to go up. Well, if I can follow and make money too, I'm a lot less angry. If I make $8,000 that week off their stock pick, I'm not going to be out there holding a picket sign trying to get them to ban from stock
Let's make
trading.
some money, man.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
right. So listen, I hope you guys, listen, for all your viewers, I hope y'all will come join us Thursday, May 29th, free event online. Anybody can come. It's going to be eye-opening. And what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
It's an hour of your time. It might be the most valuable hour of your month.
Let's go, man.
Cool, man. Well, we'll see you there.
We appreciate
All right,
it,
guys.
man.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Good to
sir.
see you again.